Dear friends, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Gaurav Shah. Mr. Gaurav Shah is a champion investor and a startup mentor, helps with financing options, makes business models, has been working on various projects, social projects, non-social projects, commercial projects. Mr. Gaurav Shah is based out of Manila. So he's logged in on his personal visit to Philippines, and right now from Philippines, Gaurav will take us on to his vision and journey on managing businesses in this new era of the post-pandemic age. Gaurav, are you able to take on? Over to you, Gaurav, then. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. Take care. Yeah.
Thank you, Rachna ji. Very good afternoon to all of you. I am honored to be a part of this summit. What I am going to do today is I'm going to speak about why it is important to manage customer experiences, especially in the post-pandemic scenario, where physical meetings and physical interactions have become more and more difficult, and a lot more business is now conducted via video channels like Zoom, Skype or Microsoft Teams and things like that. The most important element of any relationship is basically trust. Now, when you meet somebody personally, you have a lot of softer characteristics that you can judge or that you can communicate during a physical meeting, like your body language, like the vibes, like so many other things that you can do during a physical meeting. However, all of these things are missed out during a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting or something like that. So instead, you're more dependent on your verbal communication, on your facial expressions and things like that, which basically will mean that you are going to put in an extra effort to ensure that the customer understands what you are trying to communicate. Now, like I said, the most important thing that we need to establish between us and the customer is trust. Second, that we need to establish the confidence that the customer might have on us in terms of whether we are able to actually deliver the job, whether we are going to really deliver the job and things like that. So let's go to, a few points. Number one, while you are on a Zoom meeting, a customer interaction, you need to have a far more positive energy. You need to have far more facial expressions. You need to emote better. That is one part of the thing. Second part of the thing is that you need to keep your communication very, very, very simple. Simple in such a way that the customer understands exactly what you are trying to say. Now, this part of interaction is the most important, because the customer is only going to be able to base his judgment on these aspects, on what you communicate, either through words or through your expressions, because there's no other elements that he can actually feel, that he might otherwise in a physical meeting. Now, let's take a scenario that you already have a customer who is willing to work with you. Again, in this era, what is very, very important is the visibility of activities that the customers will have, while you cannot physically keep meeting the customer, or while you can't keep visiting the customer. So it is extremely, extremely important to keep the visibility in the process of what you are doing, of how you are able to deliver what the customer is looking for, whether it's a service, a product, or a post-sale service. But the important thing here is that you create platforms by way of which a customer is able to have visibility in the process as to what is really happening. The second aspect is that you must proactively communicate whatever the customer should be expecting in terms of what will happen. This proactive communication makes the uh, the customer's situation or the customer's predicament easier. He feels more comfort when he is dealing with you because he knows that whatever may happen, he will not have to follow it up, he will not have to chase you down, but you are going to proactively communicate things to him, and he feels far more comfortable working with you than probably the rest of the other vendors that you might have. So number one, visibility in the process. Number two is proactively communicate whatever is going to happen, whatever you're intending to do, and things like that. Number three, that is very, very important. Let's say there are some negative situations that may arise. So, for example, if you are able to predict that there is something negative that is going to arise, you may want to proactively again communicate. But if suddenly something negative happens, the best thing to do is speak the truth. This is the most important element, that you speak the truth as is. Whatever has happened, you speak the truth as is. This will ensure that the customer is able to trust you more and more and more, because you are not sugarcoating things. You are not trying to, adjust your communication for your own benefit, but you're actually speaking the truth so that once accepted, you and the customer both can actually find a solution towards any negative or adverse situation. So number one, visibility. Number two, proactive communication. Number three, and very, very important, is always speak the truth. Do not sugarcoat, especially under negative circumstances. So these are the three elements that I believe make the customer experience more wholesome, more trustworthy, and more comfortable, because he is able to depend on you. Ultimately, when you're delivering a service or a product, the customer's most important requirement would be that he should be able to depend on you. And that's why these three elements of your interaction with the customer, your behavior with the customer, are so very, very, very important. Visibility, proactive communication, and speaking the truth. Even if you are only on a video channel and there is no physical interaction happening, but if you maintain these three, the customer is always going to be very, very comfortable working with you. And lastly, he will also happily pay you a premium, because you have always maintained the pedigree of your behavior, of your capability. Even if you are not so capable to deliver something else, but if you speak the truth, if you are maintaining visibility, if you are actually going to be proactive in your communication, the customer is always going to choose you over other vendors and even pay you a premium, because the customer knows that at least I am getting the truth, at least the communication is clear, at least the process is visible, and hence the customer is able to plan his own activities based on what you are doing. He is able to expect the outcome from what you are doing, because you have kept it very simple. And this is why I believe that these three elements of our behavior towards the customer are the winning elements of not just current business but also future business, and also having premium money coming from the customer, because you have behaved extremely professional, you have behaved with the truth, even if sometimes it doesn't look so nice on you, but you tend to still speak the truth, the customer is eventually going to appreciate you as an individual, you as a vendor, and he will always tend to choose you over other vendors. And this is what I have experienced in my journey of last 16 years. The reason I can actually very confidently say so is because in the last 16 years, I have actually managed my entire investment banking business over Zoom calls, over Microsoft Teams. And 80% of the customers till date, I haven't been able to actually meet them in person in physical setting. So it is all happening online because I am, probably 8,000 miles away from India and all my customers are in India. So basically, they're able to trust me because I call a spade a spade. Next, I have created channels of keeping things visible. And lastly, I never have any shame or I shy away from speaking the truth, even if it is a bitter truth, even if it is not going to look too good on me, but always speak the truth. So these are the three important elements I believe, that if we adopt in our communication with the customers, in a B2B kind of services or products, it will win you not just this customer, but also win you a lot of customer referrals because the customer knows that this one vendor is a very, very trustworthy, a dependable vendor. And when he refers business, you're definitely going to earn some premium over, your services compared to the others or in the market standards. Now let's look at a scenario of B2C where you are in a setting of retail sales like e-commerce. A lot of e-commerce companies are saying today that you can actually return if you don't like or if there is a defect or something like that within 7 days or within 30 days and that your money will be refunded. However, what they have not really still done is they have not made the process very, very straightforward. In fact, if you look at things in the US at the moment, Amazon does not ask questions. If you want to, just simply return your goods, they do not ask questions. But in a country like India or here even in the Philippines, they will first tell you to return the item, then they will verify so many things and making the whole process cumbersome. So a lot of times, I mean, my own personal experience, a lot of times I just shy away from returning what I actually didn't want to, buy. But I didn't want to go through that process of returning. Eventually, I chose a competitor who had a better process of returns. So basically, okay, one item they could sell to me, but then they actually lost me as a customer to the competition because their process is one, there was no visibility on the process. Second, it was very cumbersome. And third, most important, there was no clarity as to the outcome of what will happen at the end of the process. They will just say, this is my policy, that is my policy, and you're not going to read user policies, you're not going to read return policies and all of that in such detail because we are not lawyers, we are simple customers. And hence, it is so important that you create something very, very simple for a customer to understand without the fine print. So, these are the elements I believe that will make customers' experience far more cohesive, far more comfortable to be able to choose you as a vendor over and over again. Rachnaji, is it possible to take questions or anything like that, or should I
Yeah,
continue for another 5 minutes?
I think you may continue because the questions will come in the next few minutes. The questions open.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was in the e-commerce setting. The third setting that we have is a retail store where there is actual physical presence of a customer and the salesperson available. Now, if the salesperson is enthusiastic, if the salesperson will actually talk about how it might benefit the customer's purchase decision becomes easier. The customer's experience becomes far better because the salesperson was able to understand the customer's needs, and he was able to explain the benefits as to those needs or the fulfillment of those needs. So basically the salesperson was able to give a solution to the customer's needs. Now all of this I said, the bigger question that arises is, how do we achieve this? So there is a simple process to achieve it, which is called NEADS, needs. You want to ask your customer these few things. N means, what are you doing now? E means, are you enjoying everything that you are doing right now? A means, what is it that you want to alter from what you are doing right now? D, it would mean, who is the decision maker and how is the decision made? And S is the role you play in positioning your solution once you find out answers to N, E, A, and D as to what he wants to alter, what is he not enjoying. And if your solution really solves the problem in terms of what the customer is telling you, there is actually a very easier way for the customer to make a purchase decision. Now, this is how you can find out. You don't need to shy away from asking these questions. And end of the day, if you are able to position your solution correctly, a purchase decision would be made. After the decision is made, again, I will go back to those three things: that you will maintain visibility in the process, you will maintain proactive communication as to what the customer should expect in terms of what is going to happen next, and third, speak the truth, even if it is bitter, even if it is not going to look so nice on you, but truth is really, really important, because that is the only way a customer will feel that he can depend on you. So I'm going to end my short presentation or a short speech here, and I'm going to allow some questions to be asked, which I can answer right away. Thank you so much, and I wish everybody a blessed afternoon and a blessed evening ahead.
Thank you.
Open for questions.
Thank you, Gaurav. This was really wonderful. The needs formula really helps. I have a question which the audience has posed. Is this typically, I mean, your guidance is so very perfect. As we are almost at the closure of the day, we heard various theories and strategies and sessions where we have actually gone through the whole understanding on the journey. But you actually have hit the nail and the brass tacks on the three things that is required, and that's the customer winning strategy that one needs to apply come what may. Here is a question that a startup would want to win their first few customers.
Right.
What is it that they need to do? Because that's like the chicken and egg story, whether you get the customer first or you get the funding first or you get the business first or you get the cycle first. Or so how do you break that ice where you are a startup and you want to win your first 10 customers? What do you do then?
Let's say you are a startup which is pre-revenue stage. You haven't really had any customers so far, but your product is more or less ready at a minimum viable state. The most important element is you need to get out of the building. You cannot sit within the four walls and expect a customer to walk in and buy something. The first thing you do is get out of the building and hustle. You are going to expect 90% rejection rate because nobody really knows you. But here is the formula: never give up. You keep hustling, you keep hustling, you keep hustling. one to another, one to another, another to another, another to another, until you have your first ever customer. That is the most important thing to do. And whenever you're interacting with the customers, speak the truth. Tell your product as is. Even if it's missing out on a certain element, you know that you're going to build it tomorrow. But what is important is that they look into your eyes and see that you are a genuine startup, you are a genuine vendor who is going to support their needs, and that you're solving a real problem that a customer has. If you're able to convey this genuinity, that no matter what, in Hindi we say कि हम आपके काम पे जान लगा देंगे. If this is a feeling you can create with your first customer, the customer will be willing to take a risk on you, because it is a risk. He doesn't know if your business is going to continue beyond 6 months or 3 months or whatever. But as soon as the first customer is willing to take the risk, then you will actually experience something called as a dominoes effect. But the only formula to get your first customer is to hustle. Get out of the building and hustle, and show the genuinity of you as a person. Because when the customer knows that he's going to be the first customer, he's actually not betting his money on your product. He's betting his money on you as an entrepreneur. And if he sees that you are a very genuine gentleman or a genuine lady, he is going to take that risk on you. And that is how you're going to get your first breakthrough. Once you get that, repeat that for the first 10 customers. Make sure that you basically provide them an extra mile service, so that the domino effect will start. Because a word of mouth doesn't take too long to actually fly out. A word of mouth will actually start your dominoes effect. Once you have these 10 customers, you have to make sure that everything about your service, your product, about your own behavior is genuine. You go the extra mile, like I said, jaan laga do. That is how you're going to manage their experience. I mean, the first 10 customers. Later on, once you scale up, you could minimize the extra mile by automating certain processes, by making their life easy. But the first 10 customers, you really need to put life into that relationship by being genuine, because they are betting on you and not your product. So this is how, I have seen things work, and this is the only way it really works as far as I think. So this is what I would say.
100%. This is so true, and it is a proven formula. And
Yes.
I think this almost reminds me to thank you enough. Probably you were one of my first customers. I think that was way back when we had started Media Valley Works in maybe 2011 or so.
You bet money on people. That is how it works, because end of the day, a product is never going to be perfect.
Correct.
The important thing is that you work with good people, because then only you'll be able to always find your way through difficult times, through adverse times. And that is the important part. If people are good, they will stand by you during your adverse times.
Awesome. Great thoughts and amazing. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining in through your tough times at Philippines with the family. Thank you so very much for your time. Yeah, thank you so very much for your time. And thank you, Gaurav. We'll stay connected.
Thank you, Rachna ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, dear friends, we've almost come to the fag end of our day today. Brilliant sessions, one after the other, understanding the customer experience in the post-pandemic era. This is the beginning of our journey. We aim to connect with over 500,000 people and empower them with understanding the customer journey in the changed scenario in the post-pandemic era. And do stay connected with us. We shall send across the details to you over email. We already have floated our offers. We at Media Value Works and Media Tech Resource would like to thank you enough for your contribution, your time, your support. Stay connected with us, and we are here to empower you, to help you grow in your business, joining hands together. Thank you very much. This is Rachna Chaudhary signing off for the day. Thank you very much.